Welcome back to the Alternative Highs podcast, the number one podcast in Southwestern Ontario. That is always fun to say. It's not even fun. It's hard to say when you're sitting across from another podcaster, but here we are, the number one podcast in Southwestern Ontario, people. I've already introduced that. And that's just a fact. Quick PSA, 50% of you are just coming on the channel and you're not hitting the subscribe button. So please just hit the subscribe button. And with that, on with the show. Today's guest, I've known for, I did her podcast 2 weeks ago, got aired last week. It was great. I love being on that side of the podcast. It's a lot more fun actually being on that side because coming up with stuff on the fly is just never, you're just coming up with it on the fly. But we've known each other for 8-9 years, we figured.
Yeah, something like that.
I was at one of her launch parties and I've just watched you blossom over the years and I've watched you grow and do things and go backwards in age. And it's just been fun to watch. Stephanie Simmons, welcome to the Alternative Highs podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to
what I usually do is just ask the person to tell us about themselves, what made Steph do what Steph does.
Isn't that the ultimate question? Well, I'm the self-proclaimed freedom culture queen. So my joy in life right now is helping people live in a culture of freedom. So very much like live how you want to live, do what you want to do, let go of life's expectations and everyone else's. Because when you get to that place, that's where the true freedom is, right? When you have that freedom of mind where you can have autonomy, decide what you want your life to be like. And I meet a lot of people who aren't in that place, who feel like life is sort of running them versus them running their own life. And so we talk a lot about that. Also a local business owner, so I own Sugar That body sugaring hair removal. We'll have to give you a gift certificate so you can come in and try it out. But yeah, we have a Chatham location. We're in Windsor and Sarnia.
Really?
Yeah. So that's coming along really nicely. It's been a fun business to run. So that was the party that you were at, the black party. That was just fun
awesome.
to make everybody wear black.
I love that. I still get those reminder pictures.
Yeah, it was a fun night. So that's when we launched in Chatham. That was this first one. And that was 2019 that we started that right before COVID came in and changed the business a bit. But we were able to get back up and running. And so it wasn't really a problem. But now I'm in the online space. So I help a lot of people to design a business that fits that kind of freedom life that they want to have.
What got you to that point to bring you to, I want to do the online, I want to do Sugar That?
Yeah.
Because there's got to be a pre-story to bring you to
100%. When I was, like 30, I think, 30 years old or so, I went back to school. Leading up to that time, I got married and I was just kind of fresh from getting married. And I met one of my first mentors that I would say that I've had, Gary Van Horn at Investors Group in Chatham. Now I think it's called something else. But he was just such an advocate of being an entrepreneur, not being actually a sheep is what he would have said.
Just being bossed around by the man.
Sheeple. So it's such a funny word that he would toss around often. But, he really encouraged all of us to think about creating our own economy. And I'd never heard anything like that before. Coming up through school, entrepreneurship was not really a focus. It wasn't something that not that it wasn't an option. I just don't remember it that way. I don't remember anybody coming in and saying you should be an entrepreneur or a teacher saying that's the route you want to go. It was all about deciding whether you wanted to go to college or university and what the right fit is for you and whether you're good enough for college or university, et cetera, right? So it never dawned on me. I always thought of entrepreneurship as people who, had a family business. They get to go and work for their family, but I still looked at it as a job. I never really considered, okay, that's entrepreneurship. It's a family business, and then farmers, people who, I remember this guy in elementary school, he's like, nope, I'm going to be a farmer. And I thought, oh, that's cool. Because it's family farms. So he's got it all figured out. Good for you. And so it was about that time when I was still working within, so I was you can't really call yourself a financial planner. I was like a sales rep, I guess you could say, for Investors Group for a little while. As I was figuring out, like, this is really interesting. I can, get clients. I can kind of build my own thing. It's still under their umbrella. So you're not totally free to do whatever you want. Right. Yep. And that was really fun for a while. Became his executive assistant and then had my sixth child, went off on maternity leave. And during maternity leave, I thought, you know what? It all came about really quickly, but I thought we had just renovated a home and I thought this is really fun. So that's when I started my first business. So I started Dimples Decor, which was a home staging and interior decorating business. So I did that for 10 years from say early 2016 until I just closed it last summer.
Oh, you did close it?
Yeah. So It was really interesting ride, all over Chatham, Kent, Sarnia, Windsor, like all the surrounding areas, Holland furniture, really interesting.
Yeah.
So, but I never only did just that. So I ran that business, but then I had a few jobs while I was running that and building that business up to a full-time place where I could be like, okay, I really want to just do only my business. So did a few things, moved around a little bit, ended up at Maple City Homes, which was a really great experience. I was there for a few years, but that was the last job I ever had. And I said that will be my last job that I ever
Working
had.
for somebody else.
I'm never going to work for someone else again.
Yeah.
As far as I under my control, I won't do that because it's not because it's a bad thing. I think, if you have a job that you love, do that. I'm not saying jobs are bad. Just for me, I know it's not a fit. I have goals, right? I have things I want to do. And honestly, I just couldn't fit that in that container. So when I left there, I very quickly put together the idea for Sugar That and opened that within a few months. So I quit my job after turning 40. I ended up in Paris all by myself for my 40th birthday. I just said, what?
I remember that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gone. I'm out of here. I took off for 2 weeks. Everyone thought I was nuts, which I love. Anytime they think you're nuts, that's when you're really on to the good stuff. Yeah. And I was like, people asked to come with me, and I said, I've really planned this trip solo for a reason. Like, I really want to go and I want to figure out my next steps, and I want to decide. At that point, I hadn't totally decided to leave the job. I was still working for Maple City Homes, and I went and I did a lot of soul searching and realized that, I got to listen to my intuition and I have to be honest with myself. So I came back shortly after, had some discussions, just solidified this isn't the right fit for me. Gave my notice, did what I could do to help them transition and find someone else. And then that's it. And so then Sugar That was born. So then I was running Sugar That with the staging business. Busy, crazy, burnt out.
Sugar That is such a cool, were you expecting it? And I'm not veering off, but
no,
Sugar That, really, people talk about it so much. And
it's an interesting, I was introduced to sugaring in Toronto. My friend lived there and she said, you got to try this. You've never done this before, And I thought, okay. So I would get sugared there, but it's past London, there was nothing. So what a gap in the market, right? And I was just lucky to find it.
Yeah.
But I was traveling to London to have the service done. It's essentially half your day, right? By the time you get to the place in London, it's an hour and a half almost through traffic and whatnot. And I thought, this is nuts.
Yeah.
Even just, I loved having it done. So I wanted to have it done. And I thought, I can't be traveling an hour and a half. Yeah. And so I just happened to have a daughter. At that time, she's maybe 20 or something. Yeah, about that. And she had a friend. And I thought, hey, Gerald's looking for some work. You got to do something. Why don't we do this? So the place where I was getting my service done in London had a training program. I said, hey, can we come and train? We'll train 3 people. I purposely, and hear me on this. I purposely was not trained to provide service.
Okay.
Because I did not want to be anybody's calling sick. I got to go in and take care of clients, right? I wanted to be the owner. I didn't want to be the person, owner, operator, having all the stress of providing the service to clients. I wanted them to have great service and someone who that was their main job. And I knew I had another business. I had a ton of kids running around. I wasn't going to be that person. So, and it's really a different situation when you're creating a business, knowing that you're not in it in that way. You're really still at a higher level looking at building it. How can I build this with and install, service providers who care about clients and who want to do good service. And I can oversee that and make sure everything's the way it should be.
I like that a lot.
Where I'm not stressed, I'm not providing service and also trying to do all those things, right?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So it was a fun business to create. That's really why I created it. My daughter needed a job. And I thought, she can do this, of course.
And then it just blossomed.
And then, it's grown. Windsor, we had a lot of clients coming from Windsor and Sarnia. And I'm like, okay, what's in Windsor? There's a few places, but not like the way we do it. So the way we do it is you can get in, it's 6 days a week. Evenings, it's hard to find that where you can just click online and book an appointment and go in and know that somebody's going to be there.
It is awesome.
So we always had that in mind of really being open a lot for clients. And the way to do that is we are open by appointment only. So if there's no appointments, you're not going to walk in and find us there. We don't take walk-ins ever. Okay. We've never taken walk-ins.
It's smart.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to sit there and just wait for.
Then you got
to our clients know they have to have an appointment to come.
Yeah.
So then they take care of their time and our time, and so
smart.
Very interesting how that got started. now my daughter, I think, she's really grown over time and probably will move on at some point. So I'll decide whether or not I keep the business because it really was for her.
Yeah.
But it's also now for clients, right?
Yeah.
I would like to see it. So if I don't currently own it, I would sell it and
Keep
hopefully
it. Yeah.
somebody will keep it running. And
Amazing.
yeah,
I do love
so
that.
fun.
So what would you do? What would be future dreams for you then?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, that's funny when I talk about sugar that in that way, they're like, but they don't get it. Like, what would you do then? Like, what are you going to do with yourself? Because they think I'm there full time and I'm not. I work maybe like 10 hours a week in that business. So it's not a huge commitment for me. So I'm already doing all the other things, right? After closing the staging business, I knew I was going to be in the online space. I'm like, I'm diving. I was already in it. So essentially at one point I had 3 things going on.
Yep.
And so being in the online space though, what I've been doing over the last 5 years is just learning about it and taking all kinds of courses. I've spent upwards of probably 75K like learning and taking different trainings and having mentors and learning as much as I can learn and implementing it too along the way so that I know what works and what doesn't. Yeah. And I can honestly say to someone, this platform is perfect for what you're trying to do. Let's get you on there and let's build it. And I've created a team behind that too. So I have some VAs who work with me.
What's VA?
Virtual assistant. I have 2 wonderful girls in the Philippines, and they've been working with me for a couple of years. So I've been really training them and coaching them too along the way to come into this kind of mindset, right? It's not typical mindset. And when I met them, it was very much like just working for very low pay because that's what other people are offering. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I want you to rise with me. And so that's the whole model is like, I win, you win. If you're part of my team anyway, that's how we do it. I'm not going to make all kinds of money and not give you a great life. Like that's the whole intention. So I knew I was going to be in the online space. And I thought, like, what's the best way for me to be able to help other people? Really what it is, it's called the knowledge industry, if you've ever like heard of it. So essentially what it is how do you take everything you learned throughout your life, to this point, wherever you're at. It could be a 20-year-old. We still all know things,
100%.
And part of that industry is very much about people wanting a bit of a shortcut. Like, how can I leverage someone else's knowledge and experience so that I don't have to make all of the same mistakes they did, right? I can just take the shortcut. Yeah. And that's kind of what you're providing them when you put a course out there or a product out there for them to buy, an ebook or whatever it is. There's all kinds of things, and people, I think it's interesting because people don't realize like what a huge industry it is. It is a multi-billion-dollar, and the growth of it's projected to be really huge, and it has no
ceiling,
there's no slowing it down really. And other people look at that sometimes as being saturated, but there's people teaching people how to, like, you wouldn't, like, it's unreal. Because you go on YouTube and you're like, I want to learn how to do this,
This specific situation that we're in, you get to learn a lot about people.
Oh, yeah.
Interview a lot of people. I hear it often, but it's always not educated. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's somebody just, heard somebody's tail end of a conversation and took a few words of that, then typed that into ChatGPT, and then how do I get to this point?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when you're educated and you put yourself through the process and you have something to offer, that's where I like to listen. I'm like, let's go.
And you can tell the difference between that really quickly, I think.
100%.
Right? And 2, I think it has to align with what you're really passionate about helping people with. A lot of people get stuck there. They're like, I don't know what my passion is. I don't really know. I mean, I like doing this and I like doing that, but they get a little bit too caught up in the what should I be doing? What should be my purpose? And that's never the right question. It's always like, it's very soul led. It's like, what really lights you up? If you can sit down and talk to somebody for 20 minutes about something, 20 minutes is a long time when you think about it. I mean, I could talk freaking hours about this stuff, but a lot of people think, oh, yeah, well, I could talk about this for 20 minutes. And it's like, not just being able to talk about it, but being lit up by it, being interested in it, being able to like share that energy with someone else and also get them excited. Yeah. Right. So I think you can pick that up really quickly, whether somebody, it's their zone of genius or not.
It's always fun to pick that up too. I personally enjoy it. And that was always why every career that I chose put me in a spot where I'd be in a conversation. Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah.
And
you meant to do that.
It was just, that was the thing. And then lo and behold, get to create a podcast down the road that is just a conversation. And you do pick up fast on those people. It's whether they are interested in that or if they just don't want to be on that side.
Right. Yeah.
And
Well, you can tell the people too who are
filtering
just
is
making
very,
money, just want to make money,
yeah,
right? Just in it for the paycheck,
yeah.
you know,
But they
job or
don't
otherwise,
understand
right?
the online paycheck isn't there for quite some time.
Well, that's a belief,
Sometimes
right? Yeah.
it's a work in progress. Like,
Well, and it depends too, right? There's so many areas that you can get into, and some can be quick. It just really depends. It depends on what you have to offer. It depends on how you put yourself out there. It depends on if you have somebody helping you to market who knows what they're doing. If you have maybe you want to pay for ads right away. Some people don't do those things right away. And some people pay for ads and it doesn't work for a long time anyway. But there are people who have come into the space who have made a lot of money in a short amount of time, and it's like just blown the ceiling off everything. People, there aren't limitations in the online space, and that's what I love. There are no limits, and there's really not a lot of rules either. There's not a lot of, you have to do it this way. Right? It's really open to what's working for you. So if you have something that's working, you know, maybe it's smaller scale working, well, that shows that there's a market for it.
yeah.
Right? There's people who want it. So then how do you just find more people who want it in a different way? So it's very much, you know, one-to-many selling versus one-on-one. So I find a lot of people who are spending a lot of time one-on-one with people, and there's nothing wrong with that, but your calendar gets full really fast and you get burnout really fast, because the only way to make more money and serve more people is to just keep adding people and time to your schedule, which is never works, right? And so then people kind of get, you know, they feel frustrated by that. They feel like they are like, how can I grow this thing? Because I can't give more than what I'm already giving, you know? And so I find a lot of people in that place too. And it's like, okay, so this is the time where we need to package something, where we need to take what you know and put it into something that somebody can digest without you, right? Someone can still learn from you while you're not present. And that's the whole point. Right. And it's just one way, you know, it could be a product too. There's lots of online product businesses where they actually sell products.
So when you're online, like you being in the online space, without you saying what exactly, what part, like you seem like you're the coach,
Yeah, I am a coach. So I coach in mindset, manifestation, and business. And a lot of that, though, I coach towards helping people discover a way for them to create some type of freedom in their business, whether they already have a business, whatever it is. I meet a lot of people who, you know, like I said, have offered one-on-one services. They're either therapist or they're coach themselves, or they do whatever kind of service, you know, there's all kinds of things. But primarily my focus is on other coaches, people wanting to create an online business through providing courses, sometimes live events. So they'll have live events where they coach a lot of people at once, and then perhaps sell them into a more involved program where they can have a transformation. That's kind of where my passion is helping other people get a message out there and raise the higher collective. Like that's kind of where I fit in, but I do end up just kind of like helping everyone.
what is it, like people that don't understand, like your online is everywhere. It's not
amazing.
Here.
Yeah.
It's not.
So the people I interview
there
on my YouTube channel, and I don't really technically call it a podcast. I used to have a podcast that was just
I was going to step into the podcast.
So I just say like it's my YouTube channel, but the people on there, they're from all over the place. People I interview. It's been so much fun. And I've just started doing that like 2 months ago, maybe interviewing people and starting to build my YouTube channel. But it's interesting because you can have a conversation with someone halfway around the world, but you're still in this commonality of like wanting the same thing. They just want to get their message out. They just want to reach people and have an impact on people. And so those are the kind of people I generally work with who need help. They've been doing it all themselves for so long.
Going from here to there.
That's all they do, right? They're always asking the question, how? So something comes up, it's like, oh, I need a website. Okay, how can I get this done? How can I do this? Right? And I coach them a lot on asking a different question. The question isn't how, it's who. It's always who. It's not how can I now, as an expert in the field of hypnotherapy, now become a website designer. Like, why are we doing that? You know, because that's not your zone of genius. But they just eagerly want their business to succeed. So they're willing to do anything. They're willing to learn web design. They're willing to learn social media management and all that stuff, right? And what I'm saying to them is, you at your higher version of you, when you're achieving the goals that you want to achieve, are you running your own social media? Are you building your own website at that level when you're at that level? And the answer is always no. No. Because why would you be doing that? And there's nothing wrong with doing those things, but we need to operate now as the person that we want to be. Then that's how we get there. So in order to do that, okay, picture yourself where you are in 5 years or whatever. Could be 1 year.
Mhm.
You know, I don't like limits, but that person isn't running their own admin, isn't like scheduling everything themselves, isn't producing their own YouTube videos by themselves, right? You have help doing that. So my goal always is to help them see that that can happen now. You don't have to wait until you're making all the money and there's help available for a few hours a week that can just help you to get further faster.
Yeah.
And so I coach around that a lot, just helping people to see they don't have to do it all by themselves, that there's people out here who care about that and can help you bring it all together. And that's what we do at Freedom Culture. So we help them to do exactly that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It's about the team.
Yeah.
Building the right team.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I look over and I just see my guy over there. That's the brains of the operation. And so if you were to give 20-year-old version you advice from 29-year-old version you now, because you do be rewinding in time.
20-year-old me, what would I tell her? Well, it's interesting because when we think about life and we think about, you know, going back and doing something different, which we all know is really not possible. So if I'm speaking to a 20-year-old and say myself, and encouraging them to go a different direction, maybe. I never like to think about the past in that way because I really believe there's been value in everything that we've done 100%. This far. And so I love this question though, because it really challenged you to think about what would you say, not only to yourself, but to other people at that age who are like, what do I do with my life? You know, what am I here for? What am I meant to do? And that's really what I would suggest that they do, is think in that way always. It's not about, you know, what job is going to make me the kind of money I want to make so that I can buy a house and have a family and do all those things. Sure, like there's nothing wrong with thinking that way. But before you think about that, think about who you are. All of the things you've learned to this point, being 20 years old, you know, like you still have so much value and so many experiences that you've had in your life that kind of guide you in this direction. I think I was like 15. My uncle said to me, what are you going to be? Or what do you want to be when you grow up, right? This is a common question. And I said, I want to be a psychologist. I want to help people. I didn't really know what that meant. But that's what I said. And I thought, okay. But when I really look back on things, that's always been what I've wanted to do, was to just help people to understand themselves and what they really want. That's it. It's so crazy. So I would have told myself at 20, like, don't forget that, right? Don't forget that that's what you were set out to do. And you were really clear about that at 15, right? So where does that go? Well, life, you know, things happen unexpectedly. You start to realize that, you know, you don't have all the money in the world to do all the things that you want to do. Maybe, you know, maybe your parents aren't going to pay for everything.
No.
And you got to find your way. And I very much did that. And I think that 20-year-old Steph, I wish that she would have just spent more time with herself in thinking about, and really not just thinking about, but also like meditating on, you know, who I was, the things that I really love to do. Because for a lot of years, I would say that I didn't really know that. And I would just do what I thought, you know, would make other people happy. Not always. I will say I'm very much, and always have been, a person who knew what I wanted and what I didn't want. But at the same time, I did lose myself a few times in relationships and areas where they just were not a fit for me at all. And I look back and think, why did I do that? I just didn't make the decision for myself. I made it for them, you know? And so I would just encourage myself not
Learning
to do
curves.
that. Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, they all brought me here. So I'm grateful for all of it. Right.
I like that.
But I think gratitude is the other piece. That's always the other, like, that's the first piece. And I think people don't talk about that enough, about just being grateful for like what we have, even in the smallest things. There's a really cool video on YouTube. It's called Grateful Day by Brother David. And I listen to that all the time. Yeah. It just takes you through this like incredible gratitude, and there's images, and it's like just an amazing video to like remember, you know, how grateful we are for everything. We have things that people will never have. Running water. You know, like the simplest of things that we take advantage of and that we take for granted every single day. And I think that starting from that place and being really grateful also is it's a bit of a secret to opening the doors for more amazing things and abundance to flow in. And yeah. And I think people, when they aren't grateful, like they complain or they, you know, and you tell them to be grateful, they're like, oh, I'm supposed to be grateful for this crap that's happening. And it's like, actually, yeah.
You should be, bud.
Yes. Be grateful for that. Because when you start to look at the other side of why these things are happening, and you start to ask questions, and you start to open yourself up to receiving answers versus complaining about problems, right? You start to see things in a completely different way. Why did this happen? It happened for you. It didn't happen to you. Like, everything is happening for us, not to us. And as
Yeah.
soon as you shift to that, life is a different thing. It
100%.
becomes just so beautiful, right?
100%.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I'm when we as we're talking about it, I remembered us talking about that on your podcast. Just the simple things, walking. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been one of my things that I've thought about for so long, was just the simple things that I was so ungrateful for. And
Yeah.
now it's just making sure everybody around me understands.
Yeah. Well,
what
being
I'm
grateful just for putting your feet on the ground and getting up out of bed,
100%.
walking. Like people take that for granted every single day. And it's not like you have to, wake up and like, oh, I'm so grateful I've got my
Yeah.
and then like every minute of your day. But when you shift to that energy of just remembering to be grateful, right?
Yeah.
It's just all day long. It's a different thing. Wow. I'm so like, you just end up sitting in a coffee shop and taking a moment
Realizing.
and going, this is cool.
Yeah.
It's the middle of the day, and it's not about comparing yourself to like what someone else doesn't get to do, right? It's about just saying, this is amazing for me. I'm so grateful I get to do this. Not, I'm so grateful I'm sitting here and other people are stuck at work. Like it's not that energy, right? Even though that's kind of the case. Yeah. Sometimes that's the case,
I'll let
right?
them know.
Yeah.
Do you still want to do the dream thing?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a little bit of a visualization.
I wish I wouldn't have called it dream thing.
It's okay. Well, we'll call it a visualization.
Okay. We want to do the
So, and people listening can do this as well. So let's just do it together. So in closing your eyes and letting your body relax, we'll take a minute to take a few deep breaths. So breathe in nice and deep, out through your mouth. And when you're breathing out, be sure to release any tension, any kind of stress. You can go through your body and release any areas of tension. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. Just take another deep breath and let's spend some time thinking about the future. But I want you to think about the future in a way where you really see yourself there right now. So I want you to put yourself in the place that you dreamed about. And if it's unclear, spend some time actually thinking about what that really looks like. So take yourself to that place. It could be a new home. It could be a new country. Could be a beach somewhere. It could be the kind of work that you're hoping to do. Take yourself to that place where everything is amazing. All of your dreams have come true. You've had unexpected blessings that have shown up because of the gratitude that you're in all of the time. And think about the people that are around you, the amazing souls who've traveled this journey with you or that you've met along the way. Think about how you feel when you're spending time with them, being in that joy, feeling the abundance. If there's not a lot of people around you, maybe you're by yourself in this moment, think about everything that you've gone through to get to this point and how it's built the incredible person that you are now. Now let's take ourselves into the kind of work that we're doing. Picture yourself making the kind of impact that you've always wanted to make. And you're there now, and people are grateful for you. Even if they don't say so, you can tell by the way they are shifting that you've made an impact on them. Spend some time in that feeling. How does that make you feel? Who are you as a person now? Are you a lighthouse, that beacon of light and hope for other people that are naturally drawn to? Are you someone who is traveling and spending time in places where people can have a new experience with you? What does that look like? I want you to really feel the feelings of the person that you are. Spend some time thinking about the characteristics of this amazing person that you have become. Are they kind? Are they always in gratitude? Do they spend time journaling, meditating, walking? What are you spending your days doing as this version of yourself? Now let's give some gratitude to this amazing person that you've become. In all of your abundance, all of the gifts that you have been given, the amazing miracles that have happened along the way, let's give thanks for that. And remember to keep this version of yourself with you always. You already are this. We are just every day remembering more and more that we are this person. Take a deep breath, exhale anything that you don't want to take along with you on this journey, and you can open your eyes. I would love to hear anything that it seems like you have something to say.
That was an intense moment.
Good. That's great. That means you let yourself go there.
I've never done anything like that before.
Really?
No.
Well, there's so many amazing ones that you can do every day. I would encourage it every day.
It's funny what my very first thing that came to my mind, it was you ever just been exactly where you're at and you just content and happy in the moment?
Yeah. I'm there now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was everybody around me that I had chosen around me.
That's perfect. And so I always say content, and this is not meant in a negative way, but never satisfied. Always hungry for more. So content and grateful, but always.
I'm always reaching.
Yeah.
But I have it built so perfectly right now, I feel like.
So when you were thinking about that sort of like future place, what came to mind? Is anything different? Anything like where you envision yourself being?
The house looked a little different.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of it. Jen just was right in front of me.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah, it was my kids. It was,
Were they a bit older? Or is
yeah,
it
my
same?
son, he kept popping up into a suit. So I don't know what was going on there.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
And what about when we got to the work part and the impact?
We were in a different studio, but we were podcasting.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
And did you picture, like, were you meeting with someone who you hadn't seen
There was
before?
nobody on the other
Nobody
side.
on the other side.
I just picture, I was in a studio and I was looking at Daniel.
Well, he's
Daniel,
there.
you're my future, my guy. Your hair was flowing down to your shoulders.
That's perfect. I love that. You got to keep growing the hair.
I just felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. And I gave myself flowers at the end.
Oh, I love it.
Huh.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's just a true testament, though, that you really feel into what you're doing right now and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. That's just validating that.
When you said the lighthouse, I had pictured my tattoo that I designed a long time ago that I
Oh.
wanted to be that light of beacon.
Yeah. Somebody was just talking about this yesterday, and that's what made me think of it. I was listening to like a training, and she was talking about being the lighthouse and not being the rescue boat, not being the rescue boat in the water, shining the light, looking for people to help, people to save, being the lighthouse that people are naturally like, that come to. I thought that was really powerful.
When I was in the hospital, I constantly was looking for that light. I could not find it. And it was just darkness all the way around.
Wow.
And when I got out, I created a heavier darkness.
Right.
And when life all switched up for me, I had always said I wanted to be somebody's beacon. I wanted to help them navigate. And it was just the way the words that you used were perfect because I was trying not to stream tears, but
tears are great.
They are. I've been crying a lot this week.
Yeah, that's good.
But it was awesome. I really enjoyed them.
Thank you.
Steph, where would people locate you on the interwide web?
Well, they can always reach me at stephsimmons.co. Just understand everything's under development, but whenever you see this, maybe it'll be complete by then. We're in transition right now, which I love. I'm always like, I love being in creating new things. So because everything for me has just happened so beautifully the last like month, I would say I'm just getting like intuitive hits like crazy to do these things. And so we're building right now, but they can always reach me. I'm Freedom Culture Queen on Instagram. And you know, what's funny about that is it's an identity shift, and anybody can do that at any time. And I think it's really important to like see yourself in a certain light of how you want to be. And when I thought about this name, it may seem silly to people, like, but for me, I want people, when they think about freedom, when they think about building the kind of life that they want, I want them to think about me. I want them to think about me as their who. Like, how can I help them to get there? Because that's all I want to do. And it's not like an ego thing. That's my identity. That's who I am, right? Whether I'm exactly there right now or not, it doesn't matter. You know, so essentially me changing my name from Steph Simmons on Instagram to Freedom Culture Queen, it's like I'm projecting that vision for myself, right? That's what I'm doing. And so they can also find us at, my Instagram's probably going to change again, but Freedom Culture, just if you look up Freedom Culture, we're there. The YouTube channel is Steph Simmons, so I'm just at Steph Simmons. You can find me there. And honestly, would love to have you over there. If you want to be interviewed, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm always loving to talk to different people. And thanks so much for coming on. It was a really great conversation.
I loved it.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the key, right? Is we learn so much from other people when we are interviewing them. And on my previous podcast, I'd never interviewed anybody. I was just teaching, and I'll do that on my YouTube as well. So we're moving into that space now that I've been interviewing lots of people. I'm now going to do some solo shows too, where I am just sharing this work that I've been in since, well, I don't know, I've been in it a long time, but formally I've been doing the work. When we think about the work, it's more about mindset, manifestation. We're always manifesting, and I think people don't realize that. You know, they'll say, oh, I don't know anything about that. It's like, but you are manifesting every single day. And it's about tapping into and being able to influence those manifestations, not just letting things happen, right? Most people don't realize that they are manifesting. So then oftentimes it's negative things that they're receiving because that's where their mindset is. That's where their energy is going. So when you're focused on everything's happening to me and that sort of negative feeling about life, I just can't catch a break, you know, oh, why does this always happen to me? Like that kind of, and you're saying that all the time, though, that's what you're manifesting. You're just going to manifest more and more and more and more of it. And that's why when you see people, when they focus on that, you know it's just going to keep getting worse.
100%.
And it does, right?
Oh,
And it's crazy to
100%.
see. Yeah.
You get to witness a lot of things.
Oh, yeah. And
but-
so I think as soon as people can realize that, you know, manifestation is always happening. Excuse me. I'm just going to start running down my face soon. When they realize that manifestation is always happening and you can actually influence it because it's your mind that's doing it. So when your mind is focused on the negative things, you're just going to get more negative. And so manifestation doesn't have to become this difficult process. It can be something really simple that every time you notice yourself thinking in that way, change your thoughts, move into gratitude.
That's great advice.
Right? Move into gratitude and say, I'm so grateful for this and I would love this. It can be that simple. So what would you love right now?
What would I love?
Yeah.
God, everybody to just get along.
Yeah, there you go. I would love for everybody to just get along. And so when we move into that place, you're actually asking for you to be in a position where you're witnessing people getting along. That's what you've just said to the universe or God or whatever it is that you believe as a higher power, right? And so when we do that, and we're always doing that, you know, I'd really love chai tea. And so we're now focusing our energy on bringing something into our physical world, right?
Yeah.
And we have the power to do that. And so I won't go too deep, but I do think it's really important to remember that your thoughts become things always. And you've heard this before. People have heard this, but they don't listen.
100%.
Right? You've got to listen. And not only listen to those messages, but listen to yourself. Right? If you don't want your life to be the way it is right now, you absolutely have the power to change that. And if you don't believe that, then I probably can't do much for you, but you got to shift into that place. You have the power. Everybody does. We're not powerless. Of course, we can't control other people, but when you become really good at manifestation, you sure as heck can make an influence on other people. And, you know, it's not sorcery. It's not trickery. It's by becoming a better version of yourself and manifesting great things into your life, people are naturally attracted to that and they want it too. You know, they want that energy. They want that feeling. And they start to pay attention to what you're doing and they start to listen, but we can't force that on them. And because we can't change other people, that doesn't mean we can't change ourselves and what kind of people we spend time with. So check your circles. You know, if you're constantly around people who are negative, you're going to be impacted by that. However, you also have control to not be impacted by that. That's a decision. That's a choice. And that's the thing that I think one of the most powerful things is decision. It's one of the most powerful concepts because I can sit here all day and be like, this is happening, blah, blah, blah. But until I decide that I want something different, until I decide that I want to actually make a change or I want to be an influence or whatever it is, and deciding to actually believe something different, deciding to take different actions, deciding to not spend time with people who drain your energy and who just want you to feel bad like they do, right? And it's not that you have to abandon those people, but you can just say, listen, I don't want to spend time talking about these things. Let's talk about what we want to do. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about something positive. You know, let's not talk about other people and their
problems.
Yeah, because I mean,
it's
you
funny
can.
how stuck a human can get.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's funny how they can bring it into.
Yep. And so it's funny because people, even my kids, right? Like this is something I talk to them about often, right? It's like they're having a problem at school. Somebody did this and that, right? And it's like, okay, well, how does that impact you? How does that affect you? Well, I didn't like it. Okay, well, did you tell them that you don't like it? Because you got to set a boundary of some kind, right? You got to tell them that you can't expect people to know.
Yep.
Right? Okay, so let's start there. But then how about you just stay away from that person? You know, you don't like how they're operating, you don't like how they're acting, just stay away from their circle.
Yeah.
Right? Stay away from that energy. But make sure too, though, that you are trying to be a positive influence. So you have some kind words for them because you don't know what they're going through, right? You don't know why a kid is acting up. We kind of know now as adults, right? But a 10-year-old kid isn't necessarily going to be aware of that. But I always tell my kids, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what they're struggling with. So if you don't know what to do, just be kind.
100%.
You know, and teach other people to be kind. It's not always an easy thing, right?
No.
Man, I didn't grow up that way. I grew up with people telling it like it is and whether it hurt your feelings or not. You know, and I don't love that. So I've been trying to change that how I am with my own kids, but I still catch myself doing things. What are you doing? You know?
Same.
Yeah.
I feel it. Steph, that was a really great pod. You were so... I didn't know what we were going to talk about, but that was amazing.
I love when we don't know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Because then it just intentionally, like intuitively goes wherever we
and it was
go.
It was perfect.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. Daniel, anything you want to throw in? Huh?
Amazing.
Well
Thank
done.
you so much.
With that, peace and love.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Amazing.
That was good.
So fun.
Daniel, we done?